I hope that you guys have got your whiskeys poured out. If you haven't, I would just suggest pouring out your drams at this point. There are a couple of the whiskeys that will develop better if they're sitting in the glass and getting a little more oxygen. So we will start with the High Coast Distillery. So they are a Swedish distillery, newer. They started distilling around 2010, so brand new essentially. They were formerly known as Box Distillery. So your whiskey's poured out. If you haven't, I would just.
Technical delay.
Good to go.
Okay.
So we're actually presenting most of the Origin series. So there are 4 expressions in this series. Tonight, you guys will be trying 3 of them. We'll be starting with an unpeated one, and then following into a few that have a little more peat, which we'll get into. The Origin series has 4 whiskeys, and they all represent different parts of what the distillery is about in terms of their terroir and the things that they see right outside of their window. The one that's missing tonight is called the Elev, which is a full bourbon whiskey. And not sure if you guys will be bringing that one in, but it's not part of our tasting tonight. It was hard to pick and choose what we were going to do, so we decided collectively to go with these 3.
We thought if we did 9 or 10 whiskeys, everybody would be too blitzed by the end to really understand what we were going
Right.
with, so we kept it down to 8.
Yeah, and if you start to not understand me at the 8th whiskey, I'll just smile. So the first whiskey we're actually going to start with is the High Coast. It looks like it's pronounced Berg, but it's pronounced Betty. So Betty actually means mountain in Swedish. So this beautiful, beautiful whiskey, I know a lot of the advocates that have checked out our range were pretty crazy about this one to start with because of the PX cask. It is fully matured in bourbon casks for about 3 to 5 years, depending on which series that you're getting. And then it's finished in Pedro Jimenez.
For how long is it finished?
2 years.
Sorry.
About 2 years.
About 2 years?
Yes. So what's really interesting about the High Coast Distillery is they are an ultra transparent distillery. So if you want to know anything about their recipes, the casks, down to the amount of time and hours that they mature their whiskeys in, you can find all of that stuff out from their website. So I'd highly recommend that you go in there and take a look at it, because they use a variety of cask sizes, and then they vat all the whiskeys, and then they'll go into their next sherry cask, for example, different sizes, and each batch will be different.
Yes.
But essentially you'll get the same range, and this is their core range.
And this sits at about 50% ABV, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually they'll talk about the amount of kilos of actual whiskey that they have, and the amount of kilos of water that they add to it as well, which is interesting, something I've not seen before.
Pretty transparent.
Very, very transparent.
Yeah. Millstone is like that a lot too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very transparent.
Oh, yes. I did actually buy your Millstone, and I haven't tried it yet.
Ah, it's incredible.
Let us know what you think. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Let's talk about Millstone for the next half hour.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I bet you get it. All right.
All right, so we've got our Betty. So this is a 50% ABV. The first whiskey that I talked about was a 46%, and the other 2 that we'll get into from the High Coast are 48%. The reason why they actually didn't drop this one down or proof this one down too much is because they're non-chill filtered, and they didn't want any cloudiness to sort of show up, so they got it at 50%. I personally like higher strength
So
whiskeys
do I.
myself, so
Yeah, absolutely. This is really nice.
absolutely. Well, definitely getting that PX on the nose.
Oh, for sure.
So it's very like dark fruit.
Yeah.
There's almost like a musty, like leathery quality to it that I find. It's really, really nice.
Very nice. Do we have any comments in the feed about the nose that anyone is getting at this time?
Nope, just some swear words.
Nice, nice. It's that bleeping good, maybe?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
You really like this one
I
when
do.
I brought it in.
Yeah, I am a PX guy. I like PX finish,
Yes.
or start to finish. I'm going to try a little bit of water
Oh, yeah.
this time, just to see what that does to it.
I've actually never tried water in any of the High Coast. Yeah, so maybe I'll go there
Well,
with you.
it's just a couple of drops is all it takes.
Absolutely, and that definitely is going to bring out a lot of the fruity
It should bring out more
notes.
of the nose for sure, and probably bring out that dark fruit even farther.
So they really focus on making a fruitier new make. So that's their jam. So I believe with water you'll definitely get a lot more of the fruit qualities. Like you said, the dark fruit, their new make is known to bring out some citrus and lime notes as well.
You know, and this thing, as it sits, if you leave some in your glass, folks, and let it sit for a while, when we come back around, it'll really have evolved by then, I'll bet you.
So we did ask the distillery managers why it wasn't fully matured in PX cask, and they had just said that they're looking for balance, and given their terroir, if they were to mature it fully in the PX cask, and it would have been too sweet.
Maybe
so
just too much.
Just a little too much.
For sure.
Can you elaborate a bit on the term terroir for those who may not be totally familiar with it?
When I speak about terroir, I think about the region. So essentially where the distillery is, you know, the land that they are on, the weather, climate, the water that they're using to produce their whiskeys, and just overall the influences from those environments that play into, you know, their water sources and eventually transpire into whiskeys.
And it does make a difference, for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
You know, and representative of where the barley is from as well.
And where are they getting their barley?
So their unpeated is Swedish barley.
It's Swedish.
So they're Swedish Pilsner barley. And for their peated, they actually import it from Scotland and Belgium.
Okay.
And it's typically about a 45 ppm for the peated whiskeys, or peated barley.
Look how much we're learning already, and this is just the first one.
And their yeasts, they use a variety of them. Again, for all my whiskey nerd friends, or if you're just curious, please go to their website. There's 8 strains that they use, and different types of barleys as well. So typically it's a French yeast. Oh, I'm getting more of the chocolate now that I added the water to that.
Yeah.
It's like a nice, like almost bitter, like dark chocolate. Like it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit of coconut. Like that fruit leather is very, very bold now.
Yes.
It's amazing what the water does.
Just opens it right up.
Yeah.
It's very good.
When we come back around to it, I'll bet you it'll be more candy-like. Yeah. All right, anything on the chat line?
Larry's drinking at 10 a.m. in Taiwan,
It's Larry's birthday.
by the looks of it.
Hey,
Good for you.
and Larry's one of the principals.
That's right. He is the founder of Truth Malters. And he's also one of our global brand ambassadors for Kavalan Whisky. And he lives part-time in Taiwan, part-time in Canada. So lucky guy.
Yeah, I'm part-time in Kenilworth. Barely part-time out in this south side.
I hear the terroir in Kenilworth is
different
just,
altogether.
wow.
It's like night and day.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the chat line? No.
No real questions though.
Huh.
Oh, it says here they're asking if Keg and Cork stocks High Coast.
Well, of course we stock
Definitely.
High Coast. Oh my God.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and just something to make note of with High Coast, I think their price points are pretty fair. If you have an opportunity, if you have a favorite, absolutely pick up your bottle. But what I like to tell my friends and my whiskey advocate friends is pick up the range. I mean, you're probably going to get all 4 bottles for about $400, about 100 to 110, right?
Nothing
Retail?
over $100. Not at Keg and Cork.
Oh, not it. Yeah, and then there's only 5% provincial sales tax at this time,
indeed.
which could change. So it's a great deal. And if you just want to go on your own journey, I would highly suggest grabbing all 4, because you're not going to be able to discern that all of these whiskeys are from the same distillery. And that's just how I feel. We'll see how it is with you guys and your opinions as we move forward.
Are we ready for whiskey number 2?
Yes.
I think we are.
Because it's peated whiskey and that's my jam.
Oh,
I can't wait.
Your little jam. Okay.
Well, let's do this.
Awesome. So the next expression that we're trying is called hov.
Hov.
I'm trying not to slander that.
Hov.
Yes.
Hov, Craig.
Hov?
Hov.
Have?
So this is 80% unpeated and 20% peated. So you may not...
Very subtle, the peat's very
subtle. I mean, I didn't necessarily get it the first time on the nose. I know it's peated, so I'm picking up that note. But I think for somebody that
I'm getting more kind of a candy floss on the nose here.
You know what this smells like? Shoe polish.
Really?
Or like a varnish, yeah.
Like a varnish.
I love it. No, it's great. I love those like waxy, varnishy, like old furniture whiskeys.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool.
It's interesting. So hov actually means sea. In
sea.
Yes, that's right. So, I mean, we're talking about terroir. We have mountains, so they're not huge mountains, but they've got mountains outside. We had Elevate, which I spoke about, which is river, and from that river goes into the sea, which is kind of close to where the distillery is located. Also, really interesting casks, because what they're doing with this expression is they are actually maturing their whiskey in a variety of virgin oaks. So you've got American virgin oak, Swedish virgin oak, and Hungarian virgin oak. So about 5 months, different casks,
And then they just marriage it all together.
and then they're throwing into bourbon casks.
So they take it all from the different casks, throw it all into a bourbon cask.
Correct, and then that's matured for, again, 3 to 5 years, depending on which batch you've got. And I've also read then part of the whiskey is then also finished in the Hungarian virgin oak. So whoa, this one's known as oak spice. I think the nose on this is brilliant.
It's very woody.
You definitely, I mean, I like that it's called oak spice because you do get a lot of oak and
Yeah.
a lot of spice to it.
So I'm curious, are there any kind of specific flavors that Hungarian oak would impart? Because I don't think I've ever had a whiskey finished in Hungarian oak before.
Yeah, I would
So-
say that more of the spicier flavors. So I think nutmeg would be something that comes through.
Okay.
Something like cinnamon.
Ooh.
So yeah, a few of the baking spices, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like unmixed, like flour, like some flour, some other baking spices, and then that varnish.
I like that word, varnish.
It's like my grandma's old table. It's great.
Oh,
It's delicious, either way you look at it. I'm going to see what water does to it.
definitely get more of the smoke on the palate.
Yeah.
And this one, as I mentioned, is 48%.
Very good. It's like a sweet campfire.
It is like a sweet campfire.
It kind of is.
Kind of that, some wet wood thrown into the campfire.
Yeah, last tasting we had someone say like a freshly doused campfire. I can't remember who that was, but whoever said that, they nailed that whiskey. Like,
Was
it was
that
a
at
perfect.
the SMWS? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
The water brings a little bit more of the smoke.
Oh yeah, on the nose, definitely. So just a little more information, like we talked about the color here. So again, there's no color added, they're non-chill filtered. They have a very, very cold winters, very similar to Alberta in a sense. I mean, I'm not thinking that their
Minus
winters...
30, minus 40?
Minus 30, minus 40, and then up to 30 degrees. They have unheated warehouses that they have their barrels that they're maturing in. So of course, if you think about, the high heats and the whiskey expanding and then contracting when it's cooler, there's a lot of interaction with barrels.
So we have a comment here from Nils. Subtle peat makes you think about barbecue sauce and spice rubs, and a nice little burn on the finish.
That's nice.
Yeah, I get that.
Maybe you baste some of your barbecue meat in this and
There you go.
throw it in your barbecue
Yeah.
sauce.
I would do that.
I would do that too. I found the water made it sweeter as well.
It is. Yeah, like a spicy honey almost.
There's some whiskeys where you don't want it with water, and some. I would definitely have this one with a little bit of water.
Yeah, well, because
I would enjoy this.
I like that they bottle them at a higher strength.
Yeah.
So really, if you want to put a little bit of that water
Yeah,
in,
for sure.
it's not going to totally neuter the whiskey.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
their minimum that they're doing at the distillery is 46%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be any lower than that, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
It
I don't
shouldn't.
think so either.
My opinion.
The stronger
You mean
the
you don't
better.
think Glenfiddich at 40%?
You mean
Oh, right.
you mean tap water? Yeah. Anyway, I know people like that, but it's too
Hey.
bland
It's not
for myself.
Not for me either.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
All right.
Number 3.
On that note, so now we're moving on to a fully peated whiskey. This is probably the oldest of the whiskeys out there, and they would say that it's the cousin to the first Elev that I'd mentioned. It is pronounced Timur.
Teamer.
In Sweden, and it stands for timber. So that's not too hard of a one to figure out.
That would make sense.
So
So what's the connection between the timber,
so the timber,
maybe with the oak, the casks?
yeah, actually, I believe there's a lot of timber that's at the bottom of the river.
Oh, okay.
And as well, the distillery area, there used to be a lumber factory, I believe is what it was, which is initially why they were called box. They would build these boxes there, these wooden boxes, and it was just called box. So that's where they actually initially got that name from, switched to High Coast. The region is called High Coast. So I believe that's where that timber comes from, and it's representative of 100 years of history to do with the logging business there from prior, I believe.
Well, this is
So-
much more smoky on the nose,
Much more smoky on the
like
nose.
a chimney, like some creosote, kind of like chimney notes.
Creosotes.
Yeah.
Do we know what
Great.
that is?
It's like chimney buildup.
Okay, well, there's my
He's
something
got
new of the
those
day.
words.
I'm going to use that.
Or like sweet, if someone like rubbed honey on the inside of a chimney.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what it
it
smells
is.
like.
I got, you know, you get the bourbon notes that come through as well as the peat smoke.
This is really nice.
Yeah.
I love this
This is
whiskey.
really nice.
I have bottles that I take around to stores, and this one might be a little bit on the lower side.
Yeah.
Not sure why.
They've really opened up since we tried them a few weeks ago. Like
I thought too.
We got the neck pours when you were here.
Yes.
They were brand new bottles,
They were
so a
total,
little
yeah.
bit stifled.
Yeah.
But now they've really, like, these have been open now for a couple weeks, probably. Sorry, no, these ones a week, because I poured these all last week,
Yeah.
and they really, really kind of come into their own. Super nice.
I agree. You know, I had retasted this this line just a couple weeks ago myself, and I was like, oh, I'm getting different notes because I had my book and I wrote
Yeah.
down all the initial tasting notes I had, but it has developed a lot. So do we have any thoughts on this? Do we have any peat heads in the room? Because this is very similar to an Islay whiskey. Like, I think if someone handed this to me, I don't know if I would recognize it's not a Scotch.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the stills at the distillery are very similar to Kilchoman.
Oh, are
The
they?
stills? Yeah, absolutely. So that's, I think, an influence that they have for Islay region.
Do you know what kind of production they do as far as liters? How many?
So I think right now they're about 350,000 liters, which is up from last year, and I
Yeah.
think that they're increasing.
That's more crafty size, right? It's not huge.
It's not
compared
huge.
To the Scotch, single malt Scotch standards that some of them do 3 million liters.
Right.
This is nice.
Yeah, and I know that they say they have capacity for 14 batches a week, and they make 10. So I think each batch, I'm not sure exactly what they yield, but I believe it's around 350,000. That could be from 2019, so maybe their production has upped since. So maybe Larry or Bill can answer that question for you. But again, you're right, it's probably under the 500,000.
Yeah.
And now that they've, you know, reached international levels, it's
Yeah.
probably going to be growing some
Yeah.
more.
So just a comment here from a gentleman named Zach. He says he's in the Alberta forest industry, and he says he bets our wood doesn't taste that good. I'll leave it up to Zach to determine that, and then send me an email and let me know. That's pretty funny.
This is so delicious. I don't know if anyone out there is getting any bourbon notes and could maybe figure out what distillery that they get their barrels from.
Oh, okay. So they get their. Do they get all of their barrels from one?
There's a couple of distilleries, which I could reveal. I just thought I'd put the question out there for a bit. Let you all sit on that.
We have a tasting note that I haven't heard before. Railroad ties.
Railroad ties.
Catherine, what's a railroad tie taste like?
It's again something new. I don't even know what a railroad tie is.
Isn't it just a giant steel spike?
It's the steel spike, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not.
We need to expand on that.
We do.
Or is it the cross? Is it the cross? The one that goes across? I don't know.
Excellent question. I have no
now
knowledge
you've
of
left
railroads.
us in a wonder
Well,
at
we're
this
stymied.
point.
So
So something
Maybe-
else about this distillery is they do cut their new make a little bit different for their peated whiskeys. So the timing is a little different. It's on their website if you're curious, and that's just to promote more of a smoky phenol, essentially.
And you said it was one of the older whiskeys of the three.
I would say this one.
Yes.
Yeah, so about 7 to 8 years old. All the batches are going to be different. I believe we've got batch 4. One of them is batch 3. So I'd be curious to see, with time but also they've got a pretty good recipe right now given the age. And
Yeah.
their non-age statement is, again, with the whole heat and the cold,
They kind of remind me of Kilhoman a little bit.
I haven't had much Kilhoman, so that's.
I have.
I've had the Snag, and I think I've had
And-
one of the STR casks.
Yeah. But they're young.
Yep.
Their whiskeys are great.
Mhm.
Not a huge production.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I had a Kilchoman last night.
Which one did you
A
have?
PX. It was actually specifically made for Edmonton, Alberta.
Yeah, the Alberta one in the red box.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
the 7-year-old?
That's.
Yeah, that's a bomb.
Yeah.
Super sweet, super smoky. It's kind of like, wow.
Is that one cast strength?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I think it was
58, 56.
6.8, something like that. But I have had the privilege of trying some cask strength High Coast. Thanks to Larry, he had shipped some over because it's been taking us a little while with COVID and some delays just to get this distillery into Canada. So I'm so glad that we have it. And wow, fantastic. So I know that there is an SMWS bottling that they have.
Really?
Really.
From High Coast?
From High Coast.
Wow.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. I think it's going to be good.
Wonder if Keg and Cork can get their own cask.
We have so many casks we want to get, though. We have, but we got to get this one.
I think you can.
We'll have to talk to Larry.
We'll talk, Larry.
Larry?
Larry?
Talk.
Well, if you were to choose a cask out of the three, given the profiles, what do you think you would do?
I wanted it would be cask strength. It'd have to be cask strength. And I like the little the peat proponent to it, and the PX, because I think it's like peanut butter and jam.
Ooh.
Sherry and peat, peanut butter and jam.
So just to let you know, they do have quite a sherry range as well. Like I think this Origin series is really good at showing you what the distillery is capable of and different flavor profiles, but they do have other sherries. They've got an Amontillado, they've got a Palo Cortado.
Oh, nice.
Muscatel. So they're experimenting with just different types.
It would be nice to get something like completely different.
Like a peated Muscatel.
Yeah,
something.
something
You know, I've heard
really
peated
different.
PX, but
Oh, well, let's talk to Larry.
yeah, I don't know. Put it out there. Peated Muscatel. Interesting. It's my own idea.
I would sweeten peat. I would be all over that. That would be amazing.
Amazing.
For sure.
So we did just go from a very 45, 46 ppm peated whiskey. So we're going to show you guys a bit of a video as well. What I would invite you to do is, because we're going to get into some Kavalan and start with, again, a little bit more floral whiskeys. I'm inviting you to cleanse your palate, whether it's a water, beer, or more whiskey.
That perfect sense. Yeah.
You know,
more whiskey.
right? I've heard that.
Yeah.
Just to take a break, and then we'll roll into our next distillery.
That sounds great. Before we take a break, anything on the chat line?
No questions, but
Okay.
Larry says we can definitely work that out for you guys. Lots of interesting things.
Yeah.
Consider it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you have it. God love it.
Lots of
I
good-
love this business.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to go to the video now.
Yes, we got a little special video from Larry at Truth Malters showing some Kavalan information.
All right. I want to see if we can pick this up. Over here. Where is this? Where is
This teamer
Has it started? That video?
doesn't look right.
Oh,
Oh, it's just started
there
now.
we go.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Larry here from Truth Malters, and I want to give a big shout out to Keg and Cork, and of course Lionel and Craig for putting on this amazing tasting for you guys tonight. And my teammate over there with you, Zahara, I believe, has helped hosting this. As you can see behind me, I'm at the Kavalan Distillery here in Taiwan, and we wanted to give you guys a little quick look around the distillery, but more importantly, a very close, in-depth, private look at the STR process, which is the shave, toast, and rechar. Now, this is a process that the late Dr. Jim Swan developed here at the Kavalan Distillery in Taiwan, which is now used around the world. And exactly what this is Well, let's go and find out. So we're going to take a close look inside, and this is something that not a lot of people get to see around here, but we're going to show you guys exactly what happens here at the STR process at the Kavalan Distillery. So as I said, the Kavalan Distillery is where we are here, and we're lucky enough now to have these doors open for you guys. So when we take a look inside, as I said, this is the STR process, which is shave, toast, rechar. These are some of the casks that they're getting ready to be put through the STR process. Now, for those of you who don't know, the STR process is shave, toast, and rechar. So over here, the first part of the process is to shave. And what they're going to be doing here is taking off a very, very thin layer of inside the cask. And this just gets rid of any unwanted taste, any unwanted residue, and different things in the cask that they might not want to have in the whiskey. Now, again, this is a very, very small, thin shaving that they're taking off of each cask. They will take it over here, and this is where we will be doing the toasting. Now, the toasting, what they do here is each cask is put on here for about 30 minutes, give or take, but that's about the approximate times that they'll use. If anything else is needed more, they would do so. But that is what they're using for this. And take a look here. So what we're seeing here is they're actually on right now, and these are getting toasted. And they're doing this at about 200 degrees for that time for about 30 minutes here. So you can take a look at these. They're spinning around, and it's just exactly what it sounds like. They're toasting it, they're heating up the inside there, and they're getting this to get it ready to be put through the last part. Here you got, 251 degrees right now at this moment. And this, as far as the toasting, this gets it ready, and it gets ready to be put into the rechar now. The rechar is the final stage of the STR process. Over here, we have this gentleman waiting here to show you guys what it is. Now, the rechar, you're going to see, is exactly what it would sound like that it would be. So they get the cask set up here, and let's take a look at what it is. So I'm standing about 10 feet away from here, and it's getting hot already. The smell is absolutely incredible. Imagine the best barbecue you can with the greatest whiskey smell in it. Those flames are going all the way up there. So they let this burn for a short while. They already know the cask, and they are prepared to do exactly what's needed for it. And give it a quick spray there, and then let it naturally just burn out and smoke out. And it's, as I mentioned, amazing smells in here. And what this is doing is getting as much taste that they can. They've heated this up, they've opened it up now so that when they do put in their new make, it's able to have the most interaction possible with that cask. And if you're talking about a certain char level, this is a high char that they do. Majority is high, medium to high they say, but majority is high. And that, as I mentioned, just opens that cask right up for the new make to have some amazing interaction. And I wish you guys could smell this right here. You can take a look at that. And that is the final stage of the STR process, which I mentioned is 3 steps: shave, toast, and rechar. I hope everyone enjoyed that. So as I mentioned, that's a little look into the STR process. Now, that is not used on all the casks. As mentioned before, that's one that they'd first and only had used for many years on the Vino Briques, which were the wine casks. And just recently, they've started using it on the peated casks for some of them, not all of them. And I believe you guys have one of those there tonight for the tasting. So for Lionel and Craig setting this up for you guys, again, your lineup I saw is incredible with the Kavalan and the High Coast you got there. And it should be a fantastic time. So I just want to give you guys a little look around here. So that part of the STR process is something that many people have started doing, or many distilleries have started doing since. And the reason is that it really brings out all the extra flavors and everything that are in the cask. And that's what it's doing. It's opening up that wood. It's opening up that cask. So when that new make gets in and it's maturing over the years, it is getting in and getting as much flavor out of the cask as possible, which is why cask selection is so important. And especially when you're using an STR process, that cask selection is even more important, because if it's not done properly, you're getting unwanted taste in there as well, which the shaving should get rid of those. The toasting is getting it ready, and that rechar will really open it up to get all those flavors. And if you guys ever get the chance to get out here, definitely hit me up, let me know, show you some good Canadian hospitality, which means I guarantee that you won't be leaving here walking. We'll be crawling out or getting carried out after enjoying a ton of great whiskey.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video, and thank you to Larry for taking that little distillery tour and talking a little more about Kavalan, specifically for the tasting tonight. So we are about to now roll into our next distillery, of course, Kavalan. We have 5 expressions tonight, and again, we've got quite the kaleidoscope here.
Indeed.
And you know, our tasting mats smell amazing, so I'm sure you're having that same experience at home. And if you just have a couple Kavalans that you've got, or expressions that you favor, that's great. The first one that we're going to start out with is a Kavalan Distillery Select 2. So this is newer to Canada as well. It is known to be a series, so there's only a 1 and a 2 at this time.
Is there a difference between the 1 and the 2?
Yes, so the first one was definitely a bit sweeter, higher on the caramel and vanilla notes, where this one has an incredible nose. It's known to be more floral and fruity. So typically Kavalan has higher proofed whiskies. Their Solus range, which we'll get into, the rest of them are cask strength. What people were finding was that, you know, it's a beautiful, exquisite whiskey. Yes, it was a bit out of the price point, so Kavalan listened to that, and they brought in the Distillery Selects. So what they're meant to be are A, whiskeys that are in a more affordable price range that reflect the actual distillery and what they do, and B, they're meant for a couple of things. They're meant for a connoisseur. They're meant for people that are brand new to whiskey. So if you've got friends that are like, ooh, I'm not sure what whiskey is or what it's about.
Good introductory.
They're introductory whiskeys. And also they have highballs that are popular out in Taiwan. So
yeah,
it's a beverage. It's essentially whiskey and soda and ice. Now, the creative part to it is your ice game. So usually it's typically a sphere of really clear ice. Your measurement, whether it's an ounce or 2 ounces of whiskey, is your original flair, and the tumbler or the glass that you use. So simple ingredients put together.
Very nice.
I, however, like to just drink this straight myself. What else is new? Ooh.
It smells like a hard candy.
It does
like
smell
a
like candy.
gobstopper, or like Nerds or something.
Such a bright nose.
It is very floral, as you described.
Very floral, very fruity.
Yeah, very fruity. And the taste, it's just like it's a crazy little drink. Like you could just drink this, right? I mean, it's tasty.
I don't think
it's crisp and.
It is. I don't know. I'm not trying to be biased here, but for 40%, we were talking about this. They're like water, but this nose on here is incredible.
It's much more robust than, say, your standard Glenlivet or Glenfiddich.
Glenfiddich, that was your favorite.
It's got some complexity going on.
Very much, yeah.
You know, for 40% for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like it.
Any comments on the nose here? I think I was surprised when I first poured this whiskey. I was like, wow, it took me aback a bit.
It's also quite tropical. Like there's some coconut that I'm getting.
Absolutely. So the Distillery Selects are also meant to show Kavalan's ability to blend whiskeys, because they're not going to essentially tell you exactly what casks that they're using to blend this whiskey in, but it's the way that they blend and come through with a beautiful, exquisite, nice approachable.
And it is. It's very approachable, and a great introductory whiskey.
Very easy to drink.
Dangerously.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just go and drink and drink and drink it.
So even for 40% ABV, we're not expecting a lot of alcohol to come off, but there's hardly any to this.
I don't even know if I'd mix water with it, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't.
I'm going to try.
You're going to try it?
Yeah, why not?
But then I'm doing it.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump on the train.
When
What
in
was
Rome.
that? We actually came through, we found out what Catherine was talking about.
Right, so Catherine elaborated on what a railroad tie was, because I had no idea. And it's the piece of wood between the rails, soaked in creosote, and that preserves the wood from rotting.
Creosote.
So,
Creosote.
Creosote has come back.
How much are you learning on this broadcast?
It is very informative. Yeah, I love this whiskey. When I tried it, I like the Distillery Select one, and I've used it for cocktails often, but I actually have not tried this yet. I think this would be fun. Crush some edible flowers in it.
That wasn't the first thought that I had. What the heck?
Right? So different from High Coast in a sense that these are whiskeys that you'll get a similar tropical note to all of the Kavalan, which I love, and I think they're known for that.
But I think what is going to be interesting as we move forward is you have a totally, when you talk about terroir
Yes.
and climate, and I mean, we're talking different ends of the spectrum here, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We're talking heat in Taiwan. We're talking humidity. We don't get the cold.
No.
So this is aged in barrel under heat and humidity.
Absolutely.
So as opposed to on the first three whiskeys where it's you'll have some heat, but not like they're getting there. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that aging process, how it affects the whiskey and how it compares. It's very interesting.
So absolutely is a subtropical climate. So they do have a cooling and heating. So it gets very, very hot throughout the day, but they've got mountains around them and sea. So that's bringing in those cooling airs as well in the evenings.
Sure.
So that, again, it's causing that, expansion and contraction of the whiskeys amongst the barrels as well.
Yes.
And their water source is a mountainous water that's very, very mineral rich. The water alone is known to be sweet and creamy. So I think that gives that Kavalan the creaminess that you will get throughout all of their whiskeys as well.
I like it better without water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else on the chat line? Right?
Just some comments on flavor notes. So we get coconut, we get nail polish. Zach says some black licorice on the nose. Bit of brown sugar. Yeah, super active chat. It's good to see you guys participating.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you very much
awesome.
for that.
Yes, and thank you again for joining us. It's really, really great to be here. And again, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
This is like being on a holiday and going on a tasting because we don't have to do anything.
Right.
We just have to drink.
It's easy.
It's great.
Perfect. So I think that we should move on to our number two. So what we're doing now is moving into the Solist range. People often ask me, what's your favorite Kavalan? You know what? I got love for it all. I don't even know how to answer that question. It's, again, time of day, what I'm feeling, seasonal. For me, this is one of the best ex-bourbon cask matured whiskeys I've ever had. I actually fell in love with Kavalan before I even started working with Truth Malters, so that's just my honest opinion. So what we've got here is a 58.6 full-proof, cask strength, banger. Beautiful. Again, we've got non-chill filtered, no color added to these. They are non-age statement whiskeys. With the Solist range, what you're going to find, though, we talked about this, so you can actually tell the age of the whiskey. So you've got a bit of a code here in the front of the bottle. So the B will tell you that it's a bourbon cask. And then it gets into a date. So that would be 14, so the day would be 14, the month would be 12, and then the year is 2017. The cask number is 065 in A. So you'll see an A or a B at the bottom. It depends on which warehouse that this was matured in.
Very cool. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Again, how much do we learn?
And then the bottling date will be on the back. So this one here says 2019. So it'll give you, oh, sorry, I screwed that up. It was the year 2014 and this is 2019. So this will tell you that this is about 5 years old.
Nice.
It'll also give you the timestamp at the time that it was bottled as well. Now they are building another warehouse. So you got A, B, and now a C will come up just because they want to meet production demands.
Yeah. Wow.
So they're producing about 1 million liters
Yeah.
a year.
Now they're getting up there, yeah.
But I think it's more at this point, and because of, again, now they're building this other warehouse, so they're going to be able to fulfill the demand, hopefully.
How much, do you know how much the percentage angel share is? I know
Yes.
With them, it's extremely high.
Yes.
For the Indian, I'm guessing it's going to be pretty.
Yeah, you're looking at about anywhere from 10 to 14%.
Yeah.
Now, we just released, and I'm sorry, I know that it was very hard to get around to Alberta and Canada. Typically, we had a Virgin Oak release. It is the oldest Kavalan out there, 14 years and 4 months.
Oh, wow.
And that cash should have yielded about 200 and some bottles, and we only got 57 bottles out of it.
Jeez.
So 48, I think, was the total that came to Alberta as well, and that just reflects the angel share.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot, Mr. Lee, who is the owner of the King Car Group and Kavalan, has been asked if they would mature stuff for longer, but it's just going to shrink, right? So they can only mature whiskeys for a certain amount of time.
And just like Amroot is no different.
Love Amroot, by the way,
Yeah,
yes.
so it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, I'm going to get into the whiskey. I know I've been talking a lot. Again, one of my favorite, no-brainer. If you want to drop a couple dollars, it's not even that expensive. It's not the highest.
Retails for about $150.
That's an amazing. So you've got, again, an almost 60% whiskey. If you're down into like proofing it down with water, then you've got double the bottle. Well, maybe not exactly, but you get what I'm saying. I drink cask strength myself. I don't feel the need to add water. Lots of coconut and vanilla. Any thoughts on this? I'm assuming
It's marvelous.
most people have had this. I don't even get, do you even get the, what is this? You don't get the burn? There's, like, you would think that with some cask strength there'd be some
If
heat
it
coming
is
into it.
at that level of cask strength, and to be that smooth is.
It is so good.
Yeah.
Wow, it's good.
I don't think I've seen you make this face. We should zoom in on his face.
No, that is amazing.
Have you seen Craig look like that?
No, it's like shortbread and honey and, oh, I can't think of words right now. Oh my God.
I'm a very happy camper right now. I mean, I get to rep all these amazing products and whiskeys, and yet here I am having this smorgasbord of beautiful drams.
I'm afraid to add water now. I don't want that to go away.
I'm doing this because I have not
You
done it.
have to try it.
It's bringing out more of the tropical notes for me,
Absolutely.
and I'm getting that, kind of that nose I had with the Distillery Select, where it was just already a proof down whiskey, when I was getting more vanilla and
I was just going to say
biscuits.
vanilla. There's more vanilla coming out now.
Yum, like wafers. Do we have any,
Computer
comments? I, in a way, think this is a bit of an underdog of the Solist range, because there's so many great ones to choose from. Let's be honest. We've got the Vino Brick that we don't have featured today. You got a port. We've got an Amontillado, Moscatel, Manzanilla, which is my top. So it's hard to say, hey, ex-bourbon. It sounds a little typical, but this is pretty great.
So just some comments that the sound is a bit off. They're getting a bit of an echo. I think they're just working on that now, guys. Thank you. But yeah, exceptional. And noticeably more dense than the Distillery Select. Like much more viscous,
there's
much more coating.
going on.
It's even heavier in the glass.
It is. I'm finding I don't really get that alcohol ethanol, but there is a long, soft.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of creaminess to it too.
Definitely. Definitely. You guys might see I've got this beautiful bottle here. So it's not part of our tasting tonight, but I did bring it along. It is the King Car 40th anniversary bottle. It represents the King Car conglomerate, which owns Kavalan. They're a food and beverage conglomerate out of Taiwan. Just to give you a little bit of history, they've been in this business for 40 years, but it wasn't until 2002 that they could join the World Trade Order and therefore start producing whiskey. And at that point, they devised a team with the Dr. late Jim Swan and Ian Chang, who's now no longer formally part of the distillery at this point, and that was just, he left on good terms. Kavalan's, operating well. So for 3 years, they went around and visited Japan and Scotland and tried to pick up their best distillation processes and their stills and adopt all the practices that they could to create Kavalan and make it a top world distillery, which it is now. So this bottle here represents 40 years of the King Car conglomerate and is a gorgeous beast. So I just thought I'd bring it and show it to you.
We are working on trying to get 1 or 2 of these in, folks. We're looking at approximately, if we do get it, we're probably around $1,200, $1,150 to $1,200, but very, very special.
And likely the first week of March.
There you go. All right.
Exciting. So we have 3 more banger drams. I think this is an amazing tasting. We're moving into the Kavalan Solus Port, correct?
Correct.
Port cask.
All right, so.
And do we know, so on the Kavalan, on the port, now does it start in bourbon and finish in port?
It's fully matured.
Or is it fully front to back?
Front to back, fully matured. They're new make in port barriques. Obviously from Portugal that held port previously.
Yes.
We've got a 57.1% ABV. I call this the dessert dram of the Kavalan range entirely. Now, am I looking for a whiskey that is desserty to me? Yes. Am I looking for a whiskey that pairs well with desserts? Yes. I don't know if you guys are cigar smokers, but this would be the one that I choose. I know that my opinion could differ from other people, but for me to have a sweet, I first had it with my father's, yes. And then look at this color. Obviously, you have this in front of you.
It's so dark.
I wonder how well this would go with dark chocolate.
Oh. You know what? We should have
Why didn't we think of that?
Oh my gosh, next time. I'll come back and we can do that. Again, gorgeous whiskey. Beautiful on the nose. This one imparts different fruit flavors. I get more than just the tropical fruit notes, but that's something that I get on the tasting, so I will let us get into it before I talk about the notes that I have. I'm not sure if any of you have tried the port cask as well. Again, this is another one that's a really good price point for a cask strength whiskey.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
This sits around $200.
Yeah. Absolutely. It has a lot of port influence. So this is not a port cask finish. We have the Concert Master, which again is a 40% ABV if you're looking for more of a hint of port. But this is port.
This is port.
Yes. And I don't necessarily think it takes away from the whiskey. I'm still getting all of those tropical fruit notes. Like if we started with a Distillery Select, I can imagine this being poured into a full port barrique, and I'm getting the port and what's known of Kavalan.
Is what I call a lip smacker.
Ooh. I'm speechless. I don't think I've ever tasted anything like that before.
Is this your first time trying this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's that bourbon was good, but this is supernaturally good. Really, really amazing.
Delicious.
Oh my God.
What I also love again is you're getting a lot of the woody notes as well.
Yeah.
As an undertone, it's like you can taste the flavor of the barrel.
You sure can.
But it's not overpowering. It's really well balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
feels
at the same time so complex, so much going on in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the color, right? I mean, it is unbelievable. Again, I think I said this. There's no color added. It's non-chill filtered.
It's just drawing right from the wood.
So I think in terms of people that drink whiskey, the top 4 countries in the world, Taiwan is I think number 2 or 3 or 4. It's somewhere in the top 4 for whiskey drinkers, and they typically drink whiskey with their dinner like we would drink a beer or a wine.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea is that they want a whiskey that they can pair with their dinner that's not going to overwhelm and be too alcohol like tasting. I like how they roll.
Great habit to
I can
adopt.
almost see this too with dried apricots or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The chat agrees. A couple of folks say the port is unreal.
Unreal.
Yeah, very, very good.
I miss the SMW plates that David put together because we'd have these fun cheeses and we'd have the stroop waffles and the candies and yeah, it would go well. Charcuterie and port.
We do miss, I gotta say folks, we sure miss the
in-person
live taste, the tastings in our tasting room. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and we're trying to present to you a product that is as close as we can get to, you know, as a virtual to being here, but we'll get there soon, I hope.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be in this room because I've come to all the tastings. I'm an SMWS member myself. We had a couple SMWS Kavalans. We just had one that came to Alberta.
Yeah.
The Spellbindingly Sublime, which I was fortunate enough to get a bottle of.
Yeah, it's
no bragging.
No bragging.
No bragging.
this is an
Sealed,
amazing whiskey.
hidden away.
And I am going to try it with a little bit of water.
Great.
But on its own, it's spectacular.
I will join the train here. Again, I usually don't add water. I don't find I need to.
It's more candy.
It's more syrupy on the nose.
Yeah.
Like a fruit syrup, like those Summerland sweets.
It smells quite thick and rich. It's nosing like it's viscous. You know?
Almost, you feel like you could pour this over pancakes.
Yes, I was thinking that too. I was like, is it kind of like mapley? But
Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Ooh,
I'm going to do it.
do it.
Yeah.
What?
Pour it over pancakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That was an experience. And I'm so excited about this next one coming up.
Wow. Okay.
Very excited.
So.
Haven't tried this either. So
Wow. We've got. I wish I could grab that bottle as well.
I can grab it.
Can
for
you?
Yes.
What a pretty box, first of all.
Yes.
This is amazing. So, I work with Truth Malters and we represent Kavalan. That's fact. What I've not had yet is this Madeira cask. This is my first time trying it. You have not tried it yet either?
No.
So this is all of us having this for the first time. This is our Truth Malters, Chapter 5. And it says, the truth is a cherry bomb to end 2020 is worth a shot. Or a dram. Gorgeous, gorgeous bottle. I am very excited. So again, another Portugal or Portuguese whiskey, essentially like a whiskey that was matured in a Portuguese Madeira wine cask.
Madeira cask. You know, folks, it's been a tough year. I'm not going to lie to you.
Wow.
For all of us.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what. This makes everything better.
Cheers to that. Something I'd missed with High Coast is I think the way they say cheers is skål.
Skål.
And in Taiwan we'd say ganbei.
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 G-A-N-B.
Oh, ganbei.
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 Well, I'm going to have some water. For all of you that got this Madeira cask, you are lucky. I know I've heard amazing reviews about it. Look at this gorgeousness. I believe it's just a little bit over 5 years.
I don't know what to say.
I don't think I've heard you say, oh my God.
I don't know what
that
to
might
say.
say a lot.
I knew I was excited to try this.
It's not as bold on the nose as the port one is. I find it a bit more subdued.
Yes, but the flavor is stupid. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
I love that you say that because I did a live and I had said, when I was talking about Cav, I was like, this is stupid. Because I didn't know what else to say. So thank you for that.
This is the stupidest whiskey I've ever tasted.
Just so dumb.
It is stupidly good. No, it is very good.
Well, Craig, maybe you can talk about when you were pouring these whiskeys, because we were talking and you were telling me how hard it was for you to not sip it.
Well, yeah, the port and the Madeira especially. Like I had accidentally spilled some on the table.
And I caught Craig licking the table, which I found odd because I didn't know what was going on.
True story.
Yeah.
Yep. But just the room, the smells, it was just so robust. And like having them both kind of in my nose at the same time. Sensory experience. It was amazing. It was quite good.
This is amazing. I don't know who in the chat has this bottle. I'm sure there's some of you that have the bottle and haven't opened it yet. I stare at you deeply. This is actually a lot darker than I really thought. So, what do you guys know about Madeira wines?
Me personally, not a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't had much Madeira,
No,
if
not
any.
a lot. It's used. A lot of Madeira, I think, is used for baking.
I've
Like
heard.
Marcella.
Yeah.
There's Marcella and Madeira, very kind of sweet, raisiny type almost. So, I mean, we don't sell much, to be honest with you, Madeira wine. We sell Marcella more, and again, we use for baking and making. I don't know what you make.
I was trying to read up on it, and I know that it's absolutely a Portuguese wine. I know that it's a fortified wine.
Yes, it's a fortified.
And what I also read was that some people add salt and pepper to it for cooking, and then you're not supposed to ingest the wine after that. I mean, I could understand the salt and pepper, but I think it's dangerous. This is obviously not the cask that they used for this. However.
Yeah, I did not know about that, but I just knew that it was more of a baking kind of a.
The legs on this are gorgeous.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, I'm going to take my first sip.
The finish is so long. Like, it's been a couple minutes now, and it just keeps evolving.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a dark sweet cherry
I was
soaked in wine.
I was
It's good.
literally going to say, you know,
I have it with cherries.
those chocolate cherry that
Yeah,
drips
the
out?
chocolate cherries.
Yeah.
That's what you need to have this with.
Oh my god, it tastes like that. I felt like I had that whole envision. I can't remember the ones that came in that like yellow box, and you pop it
Yeah, what
open
do you
and
call it? Yeah,
had the
I know what you're
marzipan
talking about.
underneath
Yeah.
it. Which marzipan, huge tasting note, but do we remember what marzipan is? Right? It's and kind of a cream, vanilla adding to that cherry. Definitely getting some spice, like cinnamon.
Definitely cinnamon. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, whoever got this bottle, you are lucky.
Anything on the chat line, Craig?
Just a lot of interaction between folks in the chat.
That's great.
Larry is crushing it with the questions. He's answering a lot of
Wonderful.
inquiries.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lair.
Yeah.
That's great.
This actually makes my water taste even better.
Excellent.
This will
I'm
make
gonna drink-
life better.
Well, you know, it's true. We've gone through a lot as humans in this time,
it's been
as
tough.
people, and I think that we're very fortunate to be whiskey drinkers and in the whiskey industry because I think we've really bonded. We were getting together virtually, in person for tastings, and now we've resorted to virtual tastings and YouTube tastings, but we've still been able to bring the community together and try some
absolutely.
great drams.
Yeah. And it is a community.
It's absolutely
Whiskey
a
lovers
community.
community, absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we're down to the last.
Oh my goodness.
Number 8.
All right, number 8. So this is relatively new to the market. What had happened was my group, Truth Malters, had chosen a cask. It was an experimental cask. So for those of you that brought in the Truth Malters original peated, amazing. So Kavalan released a peaty cask, which was about a 5% ppm. It was matured in a secret Isla cask, and it was nice. If you go to the distillery, there are some peated expressions. However, it was not something that was readily available. So our group had handpicked a cask, which you guys had. It was a Solist, and it was closer to about 56%. Such good reviews that now Kavalan has recognized that we have peat heads and that people love peated whiskey.
Definitely.
Now, this isn't a high peat. We're not talking like 45, 50 ppm. We're looking at 20 to 25 ppm. However, I personally, as somebody who loves whiskey, was very excited that this is part of the Solist range and is now available in Canada. You got a 54% Kavalan Solist peated whiskey. Now, in terms of their barley, they do normally import barley from Scotland. They import the peated barley from England.
Oh, that's interesting. Is it? Do you know what? Did you find out why?
I didn't find out why. They're a little bit more not as transparent about it, but I think that they actually like the peat from particular distilleries. I think if you really, really try to figure it out, you could. I have an idea, but I'm not going to say it because I don't know. It's just an idea. It's a thought.
The nose on this is crazy.
However, I'm so excited to share this dram with you. I've had it again. Sorry, guys, in my portfolio, this might be a little bit lower. I might have tasted it a few times.
That's okay.
Understandable.
Understandable.
I would have done the same thing.
Craig,
Oh, and
yes.
so there's not on the nose, the peat extremely subtle,
Extremely subtle.
It's like a smoked raspberry,
but it's like
almost. Like
You nailed it because, again, one of the prominent notes would be a raspberry jam.
yeah, and I'm getting some like toffee or something.
Yes. Love hearts. So again, it's a beautiful, beautiful bottle, of course. Kavalan is amazing with their packaging.
Yes.
So we have a lot of their tubes, which are great. They're leather. You can throw them in your suitcase and, throw in either your Kavalan or any other whiskeys. We now have the boxes that they come in that are magnetized, solid cases.
Yeah.
Presentation is great, and also the whiskey's even better.
Yeah. Packaging is great. Whiskey's great. Everything's great.
Yes.
Keg and cork is great.
Keg and Cork is great. So this one was bottled in 2020, November 17th, 2020, and it is from cask R15. So the year initially was 2015. So it's about a 5-year plus.
Oh, this is really good. Like I thought, well, this is going to be the hit
I
of the
know.
show, the Madeira, and then this is peanut butter and jam in a glass.
They're all hits.
Oh my gosh.
It's Kavalan. So again, something to note of Kavalan, yes, they're non-age statement whiskeys, but something to consider is a terroir. We're not going to be looking at having a 30-year-old Kavalan. It probably wouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
Not
It
gonna-
would reduce, you'd have like,
You get this much.
you'd have maple syrup for your pancakes.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd probably be like the dopest maple syrup for your pancakes, but it just wouldn't work. So they're going with balance and what works for their terroir as well. Gorgeous whiskeys.
Do you have the price on this one, Lionel?
$2.29.
Okay.
$2.29 on this whiskey.
So it's definitely less expensive than our original release, which was meant to be experimental. Gorgeous bottle. I drank. That bottle's gone that I have. Yeah. I shared it. I did.
This has been an awesome tasting. Have we got anything else on the chat line? We're going to kind of wrap things up because it is time, plus the Oilers are playing,
Huh.
and I have to scoot back home because I don't want to miss much of that game because
No.
the Oilers are on a roll.
Yes.
Craig, anything on the chat line?
No questions directed really towards us. Again, it's more Larry's just fielding everything for us, which
That's
allows us
Thank
time to
you.
drink.
What a guy.
So kudos to him. Again, lots of interaction, comments on the tasting notes, the
Yeah.
nosings.
Does anyone have a favorite? I would love to know what your best
Yes.
high coast was.
Yes.
And what your
Favorite high
best
coast?
Kavalan?
Yes, if you could put that down there, that would be great.
Shall we do ours? Do you have favorites?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm torn, but I am going to go for me, the Berg.
Betty.
What is this?
Betty.
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 Just say Betty.
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 And you know what? I really like this,
The Madeira.
but I really like this.
Oh.
But I think I got to go with the Madeira. I mean, it's so close, and I really like it. But I'm going to go with the Madeira and the Betty.
Solid choices.
Beautiful.
For me, just because I love peated whiskey, so the Teamer
Yes.
for the
Nice.
High Coast. And I think just by the narrowest of margins for the Kavalan, the Port.
Oh, nice.
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Because
All three
you're
are
a bourbon fan.
so good.
I know I love peated whiskey.
You're going
and
to take this part home.
I might take the heel home. Who knows? Probably. But no, the Port was, for me, the best Kavalan
Beautiful.
tonight.
For me, again, I'm a peat head, so I love the Teamer. I love that it's bourbon barrels, and I'm getting all the bourbon flavors, which I didn't actually tell you. So we're looking at Heaven Hill.
Oh, is that where they got it, eh?
Yes.
Nice.
And then for my solace, I love the Madeira. I love the yeah. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard.
It's very, very hard. Very
Yes.
difficult.
Oh, sorry. I meant to say Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Yeah. They used to pull in a lot of Jack Daniels
Mhm.
casks, but now they're focusing on those
Yeah.
two distilleries. If I have to choose, just because it's brand new to me tonight, and I chose the Teamer, I would have to choose the Madeira as my second. And
Nice.
wow, I don't even have this bottle. So to any of you that have it, I will sample trade you.
Anything on the chat line there? Any?
Yeah, we've got some faves coming
Over
through.
here.
So just going back to the start. Zach says Betty for the High Coast and Solus Bourbon for the Kavalan.
Nice.
Noel just says, is it Have? The middle one?
Huv.
Huv?
Huv.
Come on, Craig. Hob. Everybody.
My
knows.
Swedish is pitiful. Josh says Madeira was his favorite. Nil
Is
says
it Josh Know Your Whiskey?
Josh Ward.
Is that Josh?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes, so we got some Fort Mac representation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
And Nil says the Huv,
Hi, Niels.
and the Teamer was a close second. Mason says Teamer was his favorite High Coast, and Solus Port was his favorite Kavalan.
Nice, Mason.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, awesome. Lots of favorites.
Got some friends on here, so love to all of you.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up.
Because of the Oilers game.
Well, it's the Oilers game.
We're gonna kill the Canucks.
Yeah, we're gonna crush them.
As we do.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
come back
Vancouver
the other
friends.
night was awesome. Okay, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the folks at Ask Photo and Video. These guys are awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Zahara, thank you very much.
Thank you
Craig,
so much.
thanks for hanging in there, buddy. All right, have a good night, everybody.
Wasn't hard.
Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.